Hello everyone. So if you've been following and looking at the updates and everything, you know I'm off trail right now. I am not off the trail for the year. Had a bout of Lyme, still not confirmed, but I know it's Lyme just because of the symptoms and because of process of elimination and the fact that the antibiotics is helping. So I had it for about 4 or 5 days, really extreme high fevers. Had a pretty good struggle. Got better, went back to trail. First day on trail, did almost 19 miles, but it was the hardest 19 miles I've had since day one of the PCT a couple years ago, where I ended up having to get rushed to a San Diego hospital because basically all my organs were shutting down because of a stomach flu. Look at the video if you haven't seen that one. This was similar, except I had, number one, I was nausea and had some vomiting going on, but I had stomach pills to stop that vomiting. Otherwise, it could have been pretty bad. But I was very dehydrated, but dehydrated from step number one. It was obviously the effects of still being sick, still having Lyme in me, and also the antibiotics. I struggled a lot though, and I realized when I got to camp that night that I needed to get off trail till I'm completely over this, because I definitely didn't need a setback. So here I am. I am off trail. I am healing up, and as soon as I am healed up and the time is right to go back to the trail, I will do so. It will be this year. I will be finishing the AT this year, basically starting off at right where Stratton is in Vermont, Stratton Mountain. So that's basically where I'll be starting off. A little over 500 miles to go. Be 25, 30 days, pending any other problems that would delay that. So that is the plan. And then still looking to do the PCT and the few hundred miles I have left out there that got shut down in 2022 for the wildfire. So I wasn't able to finish a couple sections. I'm going to finish those up. So that all I have left is the CDT for the Triple Crown. Obviously, that's not all I have left, as I will be doing this the rest of my life. This is my life. I am a thru hiker. I am fortunate. I'm a mountain summiter and a thru hiker. Thru Hiker Magazine, I keep talking about it, will be coming out soon. Go to thruhikermagazine.com if you haven't. Put your name and email in there so you can get updates as that gets closer and to when it's going to be available for you to check it out. But these next couple of videos that I'm going to do is kind of taking over where I left off on the state review so far. I left off at Pennsylvania, so this one is going to be covering New Jersey and New York, my review of those states as I went through. And this is the second time I've went through both of those states, so I will kind of give a little bit of both because they were definitely different for sure. So my first point of interest that I want to talk about is the Delaware Water Gap, which is actually on the Pennsylvania side, but it's the last thing you do before you go into New Jersey. I took a Nero and a Zero there this year because I needed new shoes and had some problems with my sleeping pad, so I went there. Really nice town. Check it out if you're there. Great little jazz club. I think it's supposed to be the oldest jazz club in America by some sort of technicality. I don't remember what that technicality is, but nonetheless, it is a great little place. Check it out. But starting off there, you go right into a park and kind of do some ups and downs. You go into a small little mountain. It's New Jersey at the end of the day is a lot like Pennsylvania. A lot of rocks in the beginning. By the time you get to High Point, which I think is probably about 40 miles in, if I remember right, maybe 30 miles in, everything kind of gets a little calmer until the very end of New Jersey. It's a great little state. It's very short, not much to it. Just beautiful views. The summits obviously are not very big. High Point is the high point of New Jersey. Big old monument sticking up there on top of High Point. Great little place to check out and have little. You go up on top of a lookout, which is right below the needle or the monument, but then you can also go up a little side trail, which is basically a road that gets you to the main monument, and really nice views up there, even though you're only about 1,700 feet in the air. still a really nice view. So check it out when you're in the area. But New Jersey is just a really nice place. The downside of New Jersey is there's not a lot of hostels, not a lot of places to stay. Everything is really starting to get expensive at this point. Getting to New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, obviously all of New England's pretty much the same way. It's not the South prices anymore for hostels and so forth. So a little fewer and farther between as well. New Jersey is quite swampy. The weather can be kind of warm and oppressive if it's a hot day. New Jersey can be quite dry as well. Again, if it's been dry, not raining, it's not a whole lot of water, but there's plenty of water, if that makes any sense. Not a whole lot of water, but plenty of water for what you need. You just have to kind of time it right and make sure you're paying attention to the water. I haven't ran into hardly anything on the AT that you ever need more than 2 liters at a time for. A lot of times half a liter or a liter. I always like to take 2 liters with me just because I don't like to stop at every water source, so that way I can kind of skip water sources to my next one because I like to keep moving. But New Jersey's a great little place. Right at the end, you have the drive-in, which is kind of cool, in Warwick, New York, but it's kind of towards the end of New Jersey, so you can get off in New Jersey to get to Warwick at the Warwick Turnpike. Then soon after that is where it turns into New York. But beautiful little area. Did not see any bears there this year. Last year I seen 2 bears. There are actually more bears per capita in New Jersey than any other state on the AT. Really green place. A lot of people have this idea in their mind about what New Jersey is. And it's not that on the Appalachian Trail. It's a beautiful place with small foothills and small mountains. It's just beautiful. Part of it is swamp, part of it is bog borders and so forth, and part of it is just forest. Some of it is out in the open. You got some meadows. It's a really nice place, especially coming into New Jersey. A really beautiful area there at the park as you're coming through. And then you get to New York. New York is not liked by some people. I don't mind it. I like Pennsylvania more, I'll tell you that, this year. Last year I liked New York more. So it really depends a lot on the weather. New York has this weird thing I haven't figured out yet. Last year I went through, well, first off, as soon as you get to New York, it does this on rocks. You start climbing straight up to rocks. You're walking ridgeline on rocks, boulders. You're doing some scrambling, some bouldering. It's fun if it's dry. It's a lot of fun, actually. It's not fun when it's wet. And this is the first part of New York I'm talking about. It's just, as soon as you cross in from New Jersey, you kind of have some rocks, but then as soon as you cross over the border, it's just all rocks. It's fun. This year was not fun because it was like there was oil in the rain that was on the rocks. I've never in my life, at that point, it was before my birthday, so it's the first 48 years of my life, I have walked on rocks, I've walked on boulders, I've walked on wet rock, I've walked wet logs, wet leaves on logs and rocks and roots. It's all slippery. I've never felt a slide like this the day that I was there in the beginning part of New York this year. It was wet last year, however, it wasn't this slippery, so I don't know what it was. They're brand new shoes, I had good traction. I couldn't get a step. Everything I stepped on, I would slide back. So especially when you're sloping up a rock face like this, climbing, and you just keep sliding backwards. It was hard to get the miles I'm used to because I had to go so slow, and then obviously sliding down on my butt on some of it because you couldn't get any traction with your feet. So it was definitely a challenge. New York this year had a lot of challenges for sure. I fell at some point, banged up my knee. That was actually in New Jersey, and it was on a very cruisy part of trail, so it wasn't anything sketchy. I just tripped over a twig, which if you don't know about this, sometimes you're walking and this foot will step on a twig, and in the same action, this one keeps moving forward and trips over the twig that this one, or branch, that this foot is holding down. Usually I catch myself. I did not catch myself this time. I fell hard like a ton of bricks, or a bag of bricks. Got my knee all scraped up, like in 6 or 7 places. You can still see a little bit of a scar here. But actually all my other state reviews was done when I kind of took some days off for that. Wasn't in a hurry, I was way ahead of schedule, so I thought I would heal the knee up a little bit. So go check that out if you would like to. Definitely checked out the state reviews if you haven't checked any out until this. But New York is a great state. It is beautiful, there's a lot of great things. The first part of it, I would say the first third at least, if not first half, is a lot of rocks. There are some steep areas going into like Agony's Grind. You go into Harriman's Park. There's some rocks climbing ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. That's kind of the annoying part, in my opinion. You have a lot of ups and downs, but more importantly, you have a lot of S-curves. I'm not talking about switchbacks. Switchbacks is one thing. S-curves is where you're doing this in and out of trees. You can't get any momentum going that way. You can't get going if you're used to, 3 miles an hour, 2.5 miles an hour. It feels like you're going half a mile an hour slower, if more, if not more. So it is a different kind of state. That being said, you cross the Hudson, you go into Anthony's Nose, one of the best views you're going to see in like 4 or 5 states. Beautiful. Easy climb. It's a little bit steep going up, and then you go to the side trail that goes to Anthony's Nose, and it's pretty level. So good and bad. And then that particular day after Anthony's Nose, you just keep going through beautiful forests and some meadows, and then you come to your first New York deli, which is some of the best food out of a gas station I've ever had in my life. That's something to look forward to. And basically for the next 3 days, you just keep in a deli every day. The second one is is it the second one? Yes, the second one is a deli with a New York pizza place right next to it. Another great, like a quarter mile off the trail when you cross this particular road. And then the third one was that following day when you're in Pauling, New York, and you go to Tony's Deli. Another great one, very hiker friendly. They let you camp right outside in the back. So basically, this is my idea of New York. Rocks, roots, not as much, but a lot of rocks, S-curves, boulders, slippery when wet, steep downhill on Agony's Grind. Harriman's Park is beautiful, unlike pretty much the rest of New York. I'm not saying New York's not beautiful. It looks different. The terrain is completely different. Beautiful area. Had a deer 2 feet from me, just chilling out, looking at Fortune. I was looking back. Just beautiful area. That makes it magical to me when there's animals involved, which there's a lot of animals involved in my Thru Hike for sure, but this one was just literally right as far as this camera is from me right now, just sitting there chilling, looking at me. So that was fun. You go down to Agony's Grind. This is not in order. Basically, this is all in kind of like the first half. And then you go around the lake, which is Cannabis Lake. And then things kind of get a little cruisier. That's when that day is when you get to the deli in New York, pizza. And then you have a little bit of a climb going up to where that next shelter is. And then from there on out, like going into that Pauling area, and then the rest of New York, it just starts looking more like New England and Connecticut. So a lot of lush green meadows, not big ups or downs, smaller ups and downs, a little bit more cruisy trail. Beautiful. It took me a little longer to get through it this time than last time. I wasn't in a rush. I wasn't trying to do 30-mile days, but there was definitely some things that happened. A lot of rain, soaking rain that caused me to have like burn marks on my back and on my hips, to where I was just so soaked in the backpack, rubbing across it all day long, caused some problems, 2 or 3 days in a row. And then, like I said, the rocks in the beginning just slowed that whole process down. So it took a little longer to get through, but I'm fine with that because I tried to slow down in New Jersey and New York because I was getting kind of ahead of the game into New England a little faster than what I anticipated with the weather up there. I definitely was keeping an eye on weather, and I didn't want to get up there too early and then, sit at Mount Katahdin and not really be able to do anything until they open and so forth. So that's why I kind of slowed down, but I slowed down a little more than I wanted to be honest. Based on some of the things that was going on, terrain, weather, and my knee, and just some other issues. So all is good. I'm happy with what happened, but New York definitely caused us a little bit of friction, shall we say, compared to what it had the year before. All in all, perfect day though, or perfect time through New Jersey and New York. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the beauty. It's all part of the struggle to get to the top and overcome the mountains. I would definitely say New York is more towards the bottom of my favorites. New Jersey is more towards the top or the middle. And when I'm all done with this year on the reviews, I'll put everything in order for me. Obviously, that's my experience for this year. My experience based on this year and last year kind of combined, I guess, on which is my favorites. That could totally change. Like, for instance, Georgia this year was completely different than last year. I had so many views. Last year I had nothing but fog, it seemed like. So things change. The point is, get out there and enjoy it yourself. Get out there and experience yourself. Get out there and journey it yourself. Get out there and live life yourself. New Jersey and New York are well worth taking some days and just hiking through on the AT. Definitely some beautiful states. Thanks for watching. Next we'll be talking about Connecticut and Massachusetts. I'm going to be getting back on trail here at some point in the near future, so keep following the channel and I'll keep you updated. And Forrest is just going to keep living life and keep hiking when I can until I get back out there little by little. Want to make sure my body is ready to get back out there, so I'll definitely be doing some good hikes here off the trail as well, and I'll definitely share those with you. Everybody live life.